Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, January 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also, if you trade Bitcoin, I will do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, that candlestick right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Next, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol DWTX, an absolute monster mover today. So you got to think this thing has set off a lot of people's volume scanners, and a lot of people will be watching it moving forward. And really, in my mind at this point, with the pullback, and like I said, this is just my opinion on it, but it seems to be pretty straightforward that that's going to be a level that a lot of people are probably watching. Very basic trend line. So I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that's a special skill. I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same trend lines and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there are no guarantees, my point here is it at least a valid, is it a plausible conclusion to think that if the price were to come up here and break through that trend line, that break right there could create additional upside buying pressure and momentum? Yeah, that is a plausible thought to have. Again, not guaranteed, but that seems to be an area that you got to think a lot of people will be watching because of the straightforward nature of that trend line. Now, if the price continues to pull back, the next potential bounce point and area of support, in my mind, sits down here right around the $8.90 mark. And then if the price falls below there, that's where things start to get pretty sketchy, because any sort of breaks down below that level, at that point, you're basically putting the price right back inside of this range. And when price movements make that big of a move and then start to drop back inside of the area where the price movement started, so in other words, when price movements make big moves and then go back to where they begun, not exactly a sign of genuine power. But overall, from a technical standpoint, those would be the key areas, in my opinion, to keep an eye on. Next one here, TNXP, and have yourselves a very nice pattern here. So once again, as I draw this, I'm not trying to impress you. This is not some sort of great discovery or special skill. You got to think a lot of people have noticed this pattern. So once again, same general idea. Nothing's guaranteed, but more than valid to think that these sorts of levels here could create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So let me change that to green to represent support. And then let me just change this all to the same color to hopefully see the pattern easier. So we have our resistance area of the pattern. We have our support portion of the pattern. And then we have this big upwards move right here. And then for you golfers, try to make it a little bit more visually appealing, put the golf hole down here, and this would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because it's a bullish pattern doesn't mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards, but is it valid to think that if the price were to come up here and get a break up through the top part of the pattern, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is a logical thought process to have. So if you like penny stocks, if you like bull pennants, keep an eye on it. Next one here, ticker symbol HEPA, and had quite the eventful day over the past few days. Big movements, and then this afternoon, a big surge of volume came in. Sure, it did pull back from those highs, but at this point, it's all about, well, is this movement here? Does that movement right there, is there genuine strength behind it? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And all revolves around the logic that price movements with genuine power are not going to go straight up because nothing goes straight up. But there is at least going to be some signs of progress. Well, which brings to the question, well, how are you defining a sign of progress? And that's why I love charts. They allow you to take those kind of phrases and make them very visual. So my quote-unquote sign of progress is staying up there above the 19-cent mark. Not saying this is what's going to occur, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break down below it, we have that same problem from the previous charts where now all of a sudden you have the prices going back to where they were. And as I mentioned earlier, price movements that make great moves and then all of a sudden go back to where the price began, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. Whereas if the price were to come down here, behave like this, and then start to curl back upwards, now all of a sudden what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there, you'd have lows there, you'd have a low down there, and if you envision each one of those as stair steps, well, now you have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction, and that's the name of the game. That's what a truly strong move is going to do. It's going to show progress, and again, the progress point right there at 19 cents. In terms of areas of resistance, definitely keep a close eye on the purple line there, 50 period moving average, but as of now, in my opinion at least, the most important dynamic is just showing those signs of progress. Next one, RGTI. This will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched the video from yesterday, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about that red line up there at $14.40 as the main area of resistance. And you can see this morning that level showed back up again a couple times in a row. Generally speaking, we're not to the exact penny, but each time the price got up there, the momentum disappeared. And then, yes, as of now, there has been a pullback. with all that being said, yes, for some people, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you did buy right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 3.8 minutes, well then, yes, from that standpoint, the chart's looking pretty rough. But taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture, even with the pullback here, the price is still very much so in an overall uptrend. The price is still above the pink line there, the 200 period moving average. It's still above the purple line there. The 50 period moving average, if you look at these as, the stair steps, it's still nicely above all these stair steps. So big picture wise, everything is still perfectly fine, even though the price did get rejected from those areas of resistance. So headed into Friday, $14.40 remains the key battleground. But like I said, from a support standpoint, still plenty of supports down below you if there is any sort of pullbacks. But as of now, it's still higher highs and higher lows. Next one here, NVDA. And if you watched yesterday's video, you knew that I talked about that rising wedge pattern. So I did call for a pullback today, and not to pat myself on the back, but just good old-fashioned technical analysis and charts. They're not a perfect tool. There's no such thing as a perfect tool, but they're definitely a tool that I think makes a lot of sense to at least incorporate within your trading. And here's the proof of that. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. All you got to do is go back in the video archive and watch a video from yesterday, and you'll see me talking about that pattern there and how, I was thinking a pullback would be here. But now the pullback has happened. So in terms of overall patterns, now we have a newer pattern that has come into play here. So we have that part of it, the lower trend line. And then at the same time with today's movement, we now have ourselves a nice trend line right there. So it goes back to the idea of the self-fulfilling prophecies, because none of this is supposed to be some sort of great, I'm not trying to come across like this is a special discovery. Now, a lot of people have noticed this stuff. So the resistance, we have the support, we have the big move up right here. We have the golf hole down here, so we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. I'd say the biggest difference here is that other bull pennant was on a penny stock. This one is on a much different situation. So if you do like very popular stocks, maybe you trade options and you do like bull pennant patterns, definitely keep an eye on NVIDIA. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below that you can click to get signed up. Or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage here that you can use. Now, one special note, it is a genuine live event. So a couple situations, maybe you have something on your schedule this evening, or maybe you're watching this Friday morning and you totally missed it. That is okay. Go ahead, send me an email to clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay so you can watch it at your own convenience. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here in just a few hours. Next one here, VNCE, and we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern, although I'm going to use actually this moving average right here as the lower trend line. So I'm not going to be drawing any trend lines. Whenever, at least in my opinion, whenever you can, I think it's valuable to just use moving averages as the trend lines. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and use that as our lower trend line. So support part of the pattern right here, that pink line there, 200 period moving average, and then in terms of the resistance, we have that level right there. And then just to get it drawn into place, so we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upwards move right here. So there we go. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. So we have a good variety. We had one penny stock bull pennant. Now we have one right around the $5 range bull pennant, and then we had NVIDIA as a bull pennant. So for those of you that like bull pennants, you have yourself quite the buffet. Next one, NITO, and believe it or not, we have ourselves another bull pennant. So there are a lot of them out there in the markets today. So we have this as an area of resistance. We have this as an area of support. And then just because I can't help myself, let's keep it one color just to make sure that everybody can see. So resistance, support, nice upwards move there, golf hole down here, another bull pennant pattern. So like I said, there is no shortage of bull pennants as we head into Friday. Next one here, SES, very nice mover today as it started off the morning with a gap up and then a couple of very strong candles. But this is, again, one of these where it's all about perspective. If you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you're buying right there and wanting to, buy and sell within minutes, yeah, from that angle, things are not looking good. But from the big picture standpoint, yes, there has been a pullback today. You can't refute that. But with that being said, if you do care about the bigger picture, part of that is going to say, well, yeah, Clay, fair enough. You're right. The price did have this, downwards channel pullback. But what was happening before this downwards channel pullback? And those people would say, well, the price was down here and then it shot all the way up there, which has now given me the ability to draw a bull flag pattern. So yes, I'm well aware that Day traders that bought right there, they don't care about the bull flag pattern. But for other people that are still in and just wondering about the overall chart, or maybe some people are searching for bull flags in this price range, well, here you go. So you have yourself a nice bull flag pattern. Any sort of break to the upside of the pattern, you'll definitely want to keep an eye on that pink line there, 200 period moving average as resistance. But even from that point up to there, from a scalping standpoint, you could already be looking at a nice little profit potential. Next one, KOPN, and have yourselves a very nice, interesting pattern here. And just to go through the psychology of it, think about how this went throughout the day. Big gap up, price hit right there, and then started to drop and drop and drop. And when it starts to get down around there, it becomes a very valid question to say, uh-oh, is this just a gap and trap? Is this one of these pump and dumps? And if you have enough experience, you've seen those, that gap up, and then they just keep dropping. But that was not the case here. The price did at least level out, which still doesn't guarantee anything, but it makes it more plausible to say that, okay, maybe, just maybe, the downwards pullback is over, and that's where $1.72 is going to be a key area of support now moving forward. Again, that's just simply where this pullback stopped, started to level out. And then on the flip side of things, you have an area right up here at what I'm going to call $1.92 as the key upwards breakout point. And now let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy, but just because there's a pullback and just because the price is now going sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed the pullback is done and for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. It goes back to what I've talked about several times now. Is that at least plausible? Is it a logical thought that with the sideways movement, maybe, just maybe, the pullback is over and can come upwards? Yes, that is, at least in my opinion, that is a rational thought. So you had the nice move up, you have the pullback, you got some sideways movement. So is this thing getting ready to curl back upwards? We'll see what happens on Friday. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and overall not the greatest of days, but again, big picture wise, everything is fine. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. But moving forward, there's really two main areas that stand out to me, and I think a lot of other people will notice. The first one is right here, talked about this previously, that trend line right there. So that, in my opinion, is going to be an overarching level. Once more, a very basic, straightforward trend line to draw. So you got to think a lot of other people are using it. And then on the flip side of things, not a trend line, but just that moving average right there, the pink line is still sloping downwards and still the price is above it. So if we were to just convert this into a wedge itself, so let me just say, we'll pretend this is the quote-unquote lower trend line. Then we have the upward trend line right here. We have this wedge formation, but it gets interesting because as you notice, as time goes on, this space gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So eventually the question is needed to be thrown out there. Who's ultimately going to win this battle within the wedge? Do the bulls win with a break to the upside? Do the bears win with a break to the downside? That remains to be seen. But I think in my, as far as I'm concerned, I think a lot of people will be watching these two areas, so you could get some nice self-fulfilling prophecies. But as a whole, I would just call this a 30-minute wedge and not just as a matter of who is going to win the battle within the wedge. So grab your popcorn for Friday. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a moment, but again, for you stock traders out there, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be this evening, Thursday, January 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But if you cannot make it live for whatever reason, then yes, please send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a link to the replay. But if you can make it live, then definitely get signed up, and I'll see you here very soon. And also, as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these and you want to support the channel in a super free and easy way, please hit that subscribe button. It really does help out.